Hi everyone, it's Margaret Manning here. Welcome to 60 and Me. Hope you're having a wonderful day today. Thank you so much for being here. I really do appreciate it. I'm having my cup of tea this morning. I'm in a very purpley blue mood today, so I thought I'd have some mulberry tea. This is really cool. I got this tea when I was traveling in Vienna, and I found this beautiful shop. It had hundreds of teas, but what was really cool about this one is when you put it in hot water, it's mulberry and the butterfly pea tea. I have no exactly idea what that is, but when I can show you this, I don't know if you can see that. It's blue. It's kind of a purpley blue. It's really cool, and it's a nice tea. I've actually drunk most of it. I've got to go get back to Vienna and get some more. Which actually reminds me of the topic for today. I have a very good friend in Vienna. That's why I go there, and I actually take the train, and it's a lovely journey. I get my self all packed up with a cup of tea or a thermos of tea and some sandwiches, and off I go. But I've got a great article here to share with you that gives you some inspiration when things don't go exactly right in a train or plane journey. It's an article by one of our bloggers, Joy Harmon, and she actually lives in Thailand, I think. But so she's had lots of travel experience. But basically what she says is if you've got a delay, which happens all the time with planes and trains these days, there's plenty of things you can do to make it a positive experience. You don't have to get grumpy, and you can just make the most of every single second, which is what I try to do. And that's why I always go prepared with food. Because then I don't have to worry about, being hungry or just being delayed. Delay is like an opportunity. So if you feel when you get to the airport and you've got a 4-hour delay on the flight, okay, what do you do? So she goes through all these different ideas. There's 8 different ways to enjoy a long layover while traveling. And I think that some of these are very, very sensible and fun. First thing is the plane. If the plane is delayed, you'd rather be sitting in the airport for 4 hours than on the plane for 4 hours, right? So there's things you can do at the airport always. Now, if you like to walk around, of course, the airports have got miles, well, the big cities anyway, miles of shops and things to entertain yourself. And you can read or knit or do any of these things that you want. But it's more about the attitude. Okay, you've got 4 hours, best to be on the ground rather than in the plane. What are you going to do? And these are 4 precious hours of your life, so you're going to make them good. That's my attitude to it. The thing is, you can do all these personal things, but you can, for yourself, like just to be quiet, or you could talk to strangers. I mean, everybody else is waiting too, so you might start a conversation, and I have made, as Joy has, some really good friends, just talking to people sitting next to you, waiting for that announcement to come. So there's often, if you've got a long delay, like say you've got 10 hours or something happens, the plane is delayed or there's weather issues or whatever, you can always go into town. Now, I know, for example, in London, this is very cool because they have a train. It's called the Heathrow Express, and it goes from Heathrow Airport to Paddington Station in 25 minutes. And Paddington is right in the center, well, not like it's not West End, but it's in the center of London. And you can just enjoy that experience too. And it's very reliable. You can go into town, spend an hour or two, go to a shop or have lunch or just wander around the area. Paddington's actually got some very cool, it's up and coming area. It's got some nice shops, and you can even go further into town on the tube, and it's an adventure. So that's at the airport if there's a delay there. If there's a delay on a train, now personally, I love trains, so there can never be any delays on trains. I just always make the best of it. One thing, train travel is very interesting because being sort of the original way of traveling, some of the train stations are amazing. They're old, beautifully designed, and you can just spend a while taking pictures and researching the history. It's really, really cool. Now, one thing, for example, in France, there's a place called Limoges, which is going down south towards Bordeaux from Paris. And I went to a retreat there last summer, and the station, unbelievable. It's Art Nouveau stained glass windows. I do know the name of the person that designed it, but it's just magnificent. You can actually look online. Limoges. It's a beautiful train station. In Russia, some of the train stations are absolute works of art. And I know up in Sweden and other parts of the world, in China too. So you've got lots of opportunity if you're fortunate enough to be able to travel to these remote places. If you're on a train in those places, delays are just fun. You can, as I said, you can look around for the history of where it was built and what the history of the town was, and also with trains, you can actually a lot of the time go right into town. So if you've got a 3 or 4 hour delay, you can often just walk off the train, go into the city or town, and enjoy a lunch or just window shopping or whatever, just walking in the park. Zurich, for example, where I live, you can go in 2 minutes from the train station right to the center of town, to the Bahnhofstrasse, which is where all the shops are. And it's remarkable. And even the stations themselves are interesting. They've got places to sit down and people watch, little cafes. Joy makes a note of like Denver and New Orleans, for example, very close walks into town, into the old parts of town, which are usually the most interesting from a historical perspective. Los Angeles is right near Olivera Street. And, you can get out of the station. If you know you've got 3 or 4 hours delay, go make the best of it. It's really fun. Of course, you can read a book or watch a book if you've got your Kindle or your phone. And if you haven't downloaded one, which I would really advise everyone to do, you can always download in the station. Go to a Starbucks. There's always Wi-Fi there. Also, I always take a real book too, because if the Wi-Fi is down for any reason or my phone's run out of battery, it's nice just to have a magazine or a book to read. That's another option. Another thing Joy says is you should take out the needles. Needles are great. Knitting is wonderful. It's a great craft or embroidery or whatever you can carry with you. She says be a little careful of the knitting needles, because sometimes even on trains you have to be careful of that. But on planes for sure, I think maybe take bamboo knitting needles or something that's not going to cause any problem. Another thing is to go for a walk. You can go outside the airport if you can do this. If you're not doing a transfer flight, you can go out and just walk around the airport. Find a place to put your carry-on bag if you can. But in train stations, it's no problem, because most of the train stations that I know of in the big cities have lockers. So go for a walk. That's an option. Okay, browse the shops. You can always browse shops, and I say browse with an underline. You don't have to buy a single thing, maybe a chocolate bar or something fun to nibble, but you don't need to buy anything. A postcard. I buy postcards. I have boxes of postcards, but that's one idea. And another is in the airports, especially in places like in India and Asia, they've got very cool little craft shops where they have local crafts products. So if you didn't manage to pick something up, or you just thought of something that you would like to take back for a friend or yourself, you can do some fun shopping in those airports in the Asian countries too. And if you're in Singapore, somewhere like that, I know there's lots of big malls. I'm sure in Korea and other places in the East, you won't have any problem spending your money or just looking. Another thing you can do is have a glass of wine or a cup of tea. This is always a nice exercise, especially as Joy mentions, if you can sit right near the runway or overlooking the runway, watching the planes that are going that aren't your plane are going, and use up that little bit of leftover currency and just have a nice little cake or something with the tea. Pretend that you're a world traveler, which you may just be. And then, of course, airports themselves have amazing restaurants and cafes, and some of them are quite fun. So just go for it and have a proper cup of tea with a teapot. Maybe you can get a blue mulberry tea if you're in that part of the world. And then finally, I think this is one we kind of touched on it, which is strike up a conversation. Just talk to someone, and you'll find, especially moms with kids, they can always do with a little bit of help. You can read a book for one of their children, or just make faces at them or be silly so that they are distracted. But it's really fun just to help someone out, or just if someone looks lonely, just sit down and say, hey, how you doing? Your plane delayed, or your train canceled? And, just enrich your life with that of others. Take some pictures. Candid pictures are fun. Don't take pictures of children, though. Mothers don't like that. But, pictures of strange and wondrous things you see at these places you travel. Anyway, I hope this has been fun. I mean, have you had flights and trains that have been canceled? Maybe you can tell us about them and any adventures that came from it. I always enjoy reading your stories. So please, one thing I wanted to remind you before we close is please go out to our website. We have a new format there where 60andMe, we have lots of content, probably maybe 5 or 6 new articles every day. And if you're used to following us on Facebook, you may not be seeing us as much because Facebook has changed its model now. It doesn't show every post to every person. So you might not be able to know what new articles we've got. So just go up to 60andme.com. That's the place to go. I would advise everybody just to kind of skip around Facebook and just go there direct to the website. And of course, YouTube is a fun place too. We've got thousands of videos, or 1,200 videos, and on lots of topics: beauty, fashion, downsizing, retirement, finding jobs, keeping sane, all kinds, meditation, all kinds of things. So go out to our website, 60andme.com, and also to YouTube. So as I said, I'm in my purple mood today, and I actually did have something I wanted to share with you, which is my favorite hat. It's not new. I got it last year, but it's purple, and it's so cute. I love it. So I'm going to put my purple beret on, and hope you all have a fabulous day. Take very good care of yourself, and we'll talk again soon. Bye-bye for now.